What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another open beta patch notes review. And today we have open beta 22, Keeper of the Wild. And this was posted today, as you can see, and this goes live tomorrow or the 4th, whenever you see this video. I usually post these late at night, but I'm trying to get this out because last time I couldn't get out 21 because they didn't post the patch notes until after the update went live. I'm like, there's really no point. I like to do these at least a day before or the day of so people can look at it and whatnot. I would do it earlier if they would post it, but they usually do it a day before, so I try to get to it. Sometimes we don't, but here we are. As you can see, we're getting Sylvanas. Not my favorite character, I'll be honest. I do know a lot of people who are very Sylvanas mains, basically. So here we are, open beta 22. I know a couple things along with his aspects, so I can go over him pretty thoroughly from what I remember. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. As per usual, the URL will be in the description down below if you want to take a look at it yourself. So let's go. New ported god Sylvanas. So in general, he's a ranged basic attack, god, damage type magical, and then scaling has intelligence scaling. So don't build any, well, I won't say don't build any, well, I can't think of it, strength scaling, because in his aspect it is good to build. Anyways, that's it. That's what we got. So passive is Nature's Bounty. When your abilities hit or are deployed, a seed pod appears. Picking up restores mana and reduces your cooldown. I thought I was streaming for a second, not recording. So it picks up, restores mana, and reduces your cooldown. Pick up 8 of them, and you spawn a pod near Sylvanas. So this is actually a recent thing that they did in Smite 1, was when you hit abilities, a seed pod appears and you can pick it up and it restores mana and reduces cooldown. But in Smite 2, they added a second part to this as well. Another +1 is when you pick up 8 spawns of the pods. When you pick up the seeds, it spawns a pod near Sylvanas, which is like a flower, basically. So that's pretty cool. Ability 1, Verdant Growth. So his one, just you throw out a pod that deals magical damage, applies protection reduction, and roots enemies. If it lands on the ground without hitting an enemy, it grows into a flower, and that grants nearby allies mana regeneration. So a lot of the time you'll see a Sylvanas go to like the solo lane or the mid lane, just to throw out a pod back, or either go back to their support lane, depending if you're, usually Sylvanas is in support, but sometimes can be into solo. And now with this aspect could probably be a carry. Anyways, they do this because they know that once it fully blooms or whatever, it grows into a flower and grants nearby allies mana regeneration, which can be very huge for your team. Ability 2 is Wisps. Release Wisps that restore health to allies or will deal magical damage to enemies repeatedly over time. Allies gain protections while healed. So basically the same old from Smite 1. In his extra part of his 2, though, the first Wisp tick deals twice the normal amount of damage and healing. And then Wisps can revive wilted flowers or cause living flowers to grant protections in an aura. So with his flowers, he can throw out with his 1 and it grows into a flower, or you know what I mean. He throws out his Verdant Growth, his 1, and it turns into a flower. The enemy team can destroy it. In Smite 1, it would be immediately destroyed and you wouldn't have it anymore. In Smite 2 now, sorry, when an enemy destroys it, the wilted flower, or it slowly wilts over a time period. They don't say it here, but if within that period of it wilting, let's just hypothetically say it's 6 seconds before it, it like goes away, the wilted flower. Within that 6-second period, if you use your 2, you can revive your flower and it'll come back with basically what it had before, mana regeneration to allies. If it is still alive, it actually causes your living flower to grant protections in an aura. So if you and your teammates are around it after you use your 2 on your flower, you will get a protection aura, which is pretty cool. Another +1 they added with that. Ability 3, Nature's Grasp. Extend a vine that stuns the first enemy god hit and pulls them in towards Sylvanas. Same old. Sylvanas can pull pods to him, granting a mana aura. If Sylvanas drops below 40% health, he consumes the aura to gain wisps. So this is the +1. So now if you throw out your 1 and it turns into a flower, you can grab it with your 3 along with an enemy if you wanted to. If they were in that same line of sight, you grab both of them, grants you a mana aura, which I believe, you know, gives to your allies too. And then if you drop below 40% health when he grabs the plant, I think there's a specific time. There's a specific timer. Let's just say 6 seconds. Within the 6 seconds of you grabbing that plant, if you go below 40% health, he consumes his aura and gains wisps, which is his 2, which is a heal. So that is pretty cool. I like that as well. Some more synergy with his kit, making the flowers more impactful, which sort of was his thing. His ultimate ability, Wrath of Terra, slam the ground, knocking enemies up into an area and dealing magical damage repeatedly over time. Same old Sylvanas. If a pod has been grabbed with your 3, consume it to apply Verdant's growth protection reduction. So basically, if you grab a flower with your 3, and then you proceed to ult within that cooldown period, or within that, you know, period in which you still have the effect of grabbing that plant. Let's just hypothetically say 6 seconds. I don't know what it is. They don't say it here. If you use your ult within that time period, you will get the protection reduction that you would normally get in your 1, which is also pretty nice. A lot of synergy with his wisps. A lot of this you probably won't specifically try to do. It's just going to be a thing, like, you know, using your 2 to revive your plant. It may not be worth it to do that in that set time period, or you may not even think about doing it. There, a lot of these are just like, you know, you gotta think about these really. But if you or a lot of the +1s you gotta think about here, because they're not like intuitive, I suppose, or like easy to just understand without going into detail here. But understanding and knowing a little bit of this can help you. You know, get better at the game, get better with Sylvanas, and make you a better player overall, knowing these +1s. I hope that made sense. Overall, I think he's going to be a pretty solid god. We'll have to see his numbers and stuff when he's in game. But his aspect is releasing on November 7th. They usually do this Friday after their initial release on a Tuesday. Aspect of Grover's Wrath. So attacks, +15 damage to targets debuffed by Sylvanas. I'm not entirely sure. I'm assuming attacks mean everything upwards to like abilities and auto attacks. I'm assuming you just get a 15% damage debuff to them by Sylvanas, which means that everyone, or that's like the enemy can't do as much damage to everyone, which is really fucking good. Wisps heal. Protections and ultimate knockup reduced by 40%. So his Wisps heal will heal 40% less. His protections that he grants to him and his team will be 40% less, and his ultimate knockup will be 40% less too. So that kind of nerfs a lot of his support aspects of his original kit. Nature's Grasp tethers, dealing damage and slowing while also granting Sylvanas haste. And that's specifically to make his auto attacks a lot better, because if you're tethered to someone and you give yourself haste, you're able to just throw out autos after auto after auto after auto, and you're just sticking to them, which is kind of disgusting. And then gain anger plus attack speed when Verdant growth or allies die, +2 on ultimate cast. So you'll get 2 extra stacks of attack speed when you use your ultimate. At 4 stacks, Enrage, and you get plus attack speed and free Wisp or Nature's Grasp cast. Similar to like Xbalanque's ult. Just with Sylvanas, he actually has the ability to do a free Wisp or a free Nature's Grasp. So he gets attack speed when his Verdant's growth is out. So his flower or him is 1. Or an ally dies. Now, ally can mean anywhere between a god to a minion, for example. So we'll have to see what that means, actually. Overall, the synergy with his 3 and the haste that he's going to have, plus the continuous attack speed on top of the attack speed you're already going to build with your items, and 15% damage debuff that Sylvanas is going to give to the enemy, immediately makes me think that he's going to be an insane dueler. And I think this he's probably going to get nerfed here because the synergy with all this is kind of disgusting. Haste on a Sylvanas is kind of might be a little nutto, so we'll have to see. But I definitely think the better part of his kit, or the better part of Sylvanas that they're porting over, is going to be his aspect. I think, at least, he's probably going to be disgusting. The numbers are going to be gross. They're going to have to change the numbers here, but that's usually what happens with the guys that they bring to the table. A lot of the time, they want to make them either like overpowered, or they try to give some aspect to the new god. That'll make him fun, because I mean, if they release a god that's just kind of balanced and doesn't show off what they can do, it's seen not as good statistically from what Hi-Rez has stated before. Is basically the consensus. So yes, he's gonna be coming here soon tomorrow. Gonna have fun with that. Gonna learn some new things about where he places in the meta, the battleground of the gods. Anyways, we got new Wandering Market Travelers. Dark Lord Sun Wukong's coming. That was a skin from... I'm not too privy on skins and what they all mean and whatever, so bear with me. God Mod, one of the mods, I just remembered now. I almost forgot until I said that. Has made it a point, which is a good point. I believe, and he'll say it in the comments down below if people are watching this and don't know understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm gonna probably botch this, so he'll probably say something in the comments. The pumpkin event, I believe, goes past this next patch. They're not going to be bringing any new skins with pumpkins to it, but I believe the travelers that you buy will still have pumpkins, and you can get those pumpkins and you can then unlock the chalk skin. I believe you have to get 6 pumpkins to get that. I'm pretty sure you can still the battle pass, like Wandering Market coins thing, the battle pass, every time you level up you get like rewards, like mainly wandering tokens or whatever they're called. But I believe level 55 you get a free pumpkin. I think you can get that for a little bit longer, so if people are still trying to grind that, you can get that as well. God Mod will have it in the down. I'm gonna assume he's gonna have it down below, just like maybe a quick synopsis. If not, then basically what I told you is pretty much what's happening. So you still have a little bit more time, I believe, in the next patch. Anyways, contents: Dark Lord skin instantly unlocked after purchasing the premium traveler page. So you know the skins: Obsidian Prism skin, Void Spawn Prism, Frostbane Prism. I love the prisms that they add. Traveler name: Sacred Arrow Rama, with arrows aglow and a virtue as his aim. The sacred arrows pierce the darkness. A new, I think this is the same Rama skin from before, from Smite 1. We get some cool prisms and stuff, which is gonna be cool. Soul Piercer Achilles. I don't know this skin, I don't remember, but he's got some prisms as well. So another Achilles skin. Achilles, Rama, and Wukong. Quality of life improvements, new lobby lighting, and continued improvements. We did see this. They did make it a point to showcase some of the new conquest lighting. It's a lot more bright and vibrant, which I may have to get used to. I don't dislike it. I don't love it. I think it's probably a step in the right direction. At the end of the day, honestly, we're all humans. We'll get used to it. But I think it's a step in the right direction, especially with their UE5. Should be doing some good stuff with it, not just squandering it. New conquest lighting and rocks, similar to what I was saying before. They made the upgrades to the rocks and stuff to make it more visually nice. Hopefully it doesn't kill the FPS like it's known to be before, and still continue to have sometimes. I still have it even on my I don't have a monster computer, but I have a pretty powerful computer, and I still run into some FPS sometimes, FPS errors sometimes. Audio improvements for Thanatos basic attacks. Continue audio improvements to day and night cycling conquest. So slowly but surely seems to be the theme. New Pantheon quest with the events tab. Complete Pantheon quest to earn badges. So I believe you'll get certain avatars, and one of them I do believe that got leaked was Ardeo. I believe is going to be coming soon, because they had they leaked it on accident. One of the avatars you can get is Ardeo, and so you know, if you can get the Ardeo avatar, many people are thinking that it's going to be Ardeo. Not 100% confirmed, but I believe it's pretty convincingly true that it's going to be Ardeo, but we'll see. Could be wrong. Ward timers. Wards you place Wards you place should now show a timer on your minimap to indicate how long they will remain active until expiry. This is very good too. They did this in Smite 1 as well. Being able to know when your wards are expiring has always been an issue for me. I got used to it after a while, but now that we can see how long it is, it helps you figure out like, okay, well, it's about to expire, so let me go ahead and get a ward, and then once that's down, I can replace it, and then it'll be good. Jungle Practice added an add item stacks option to practice menu, which is nice. One thing I really wish they added to Jungle Practice was having multiple people in Jungle Practice. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about making a build, or I'm thinking about how does this interaction work? I just thought about this, and then I need a second person to be the test on me, or if I want to go over numbers, like which is intelligence better here, or is strength better here with the type of scaling that gods have. I'm like, well, what I want to do here. And then so a lot of times it'd be easier if I had another person there. Back in Smite 1, it made it so much easier. I wish they would add that. I don't know how hard it is. Obviously it's not that important. Not a lot of people are demanding for that, but for me, who wants to know things when it gets on my brain, I'm like, well, how does this work? I don't want to have to make a custom conquest map and then go to the middle of the map and figure out what said thing does. So anyways, Cool thing added to Jungle Practice though. Sure. God Balance. We got Amaterasu Shift. So I think it might be pretty clear that Bologna right now is pretty convincingly better than Ama. Bologna is better than Ama is basically what I'm trying to say. Ama just isn't doing the things as basic as I can say on that. So she does need a buff in my opinion, but they're doing a shift here, so let's see. There's a lot here. Illuminating Strike, which is her passive, can now be triggered by 3 basic attacks and or dazzling offensive hits. So again, her passive, when you hit 3 hits or basic attacks, it reduces their protections, I believe, or I believe it's some type of increase in damage to whatever it is. I think it's either 10% reduction in protections or 10% increased damage to that target, I believe, because like it opens up their weak points. I don't remember the exact specific verbiage for that, but you basically do 10% more damage, I believe is the number. But now dazzling offensive hits, so I believe her ult will be able to trigger that as well. So now you can do more damage once you hit them with your ult, which is nice. That's a buff. Divine Presence, which is her 1, decreased attack speed from 10 to 26 to 8 to 20%. That's definitely a nerf. It's definitely a nerf. Minus 6% at max level. And then decreased strength from 14 to 30 to 12 to 24. Another nerf. I don't know if we needed to do that, but maybe. Let's see what we got cooking here. Heavenly Reflection increased base damage from 70 to 210 to 80 to 240. So 10 initially and an extra 30 at the end. And then this increases maximum damage from 140 to 420 to 160 to 480. That's just doubling the amount of damage because either when you get hit or you hit enemies with your 2, you'll double it if you get full stacks there. Dazzling Offensive for her ult. Increased base damage from 100 to 260 to 100 to 300. So 40 at the end initially doesn't change at all. This increases the second hit damage from 120 to 310 to 120 to 360. 140 to 364 to 140 to 420 or 3. So, her third hit, I gotcha. Okay, so goes from 364 to 420, which is pretty significant, I will say. And then increased intelligence scaling from 45 to 50%. More, more utility with that, I suppose. Healing and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. I don't know how well this is gonna do with her. I think she might be a little bit better. She might be a little bit better, maybe like a tier above. All right, Aphrodite buff. Did Aphrodite need a buff? Probably. Realistically, like Conquest, she's not doing the greatest. Joust, she's just really potent right now. Well, she kind of always is. She's not as potent as she once was, but still. Anyways, back off her 2. Increased bonus damage from 20 to 80 to 40 to 120. Increased bonus damage scaling from 15% to 20%. Increased damage scaling from 85% to 90. And then soulmate scaling 50% to 60. Yeah, so they're really trying to make her her damage build more potent, I suppose. I really wish they would just make her aspect damage oriented or support oriented and make the base version, you know, whatever they did in the aspect, but opposite. Because it seems to be like they want to go one way with her and then they want to go another way with her again. Like they're buffing support part of her and then they're buffing damage part of her. And it's like, at this point, just make an aspect. I think that's what's probably going to happen at some point. It only makes sense. Lovebirds increase heal per tick from 8 to 16 to 10 to 18, and increased ally heal scaling from 2% to 2.5% intelligence. So, yeah, now they're buffing her healing, which is to be honest, fine. I think her healing was kind of underperforming. Is the word I'm trying to use, especially when ESET just does what she does better because of a quicker cooldown. So which I think she needs to get nerfed too. Chalk buff. I don't know if we need to buff Chalk. I think Chalk was in a fine spot, but okay. Overflow is passive, so now increased. Oh, it's a new effect. Increased heal amount per level from 0 to 1. Okay, well, obviously it'll be 0 because it wasn't a new thing, or wasn't a thing before it. So now he gets increased heal amount per level. So you get 1 at level 1 and then 20 at level 20. Sure. Rain Dance, new, grants a stack of overflow every 1.5 seconds. This results in 4 stacks over the whole Rain Dance. Okay. So that means Rain Dance lasts for 6 seconds, which means he's going to get an extra 20 at level 20. So that would be what? That's 20 times 4, 80, extra 80 healing over Rain Dance with this new overflow thing going on here. I believe I'm saying that right, like 2, 4, 6, yeah, 80. So, okay, he's gonna heal a bit more, which is kind of crazy. Aspect of fulmination. Rain Dance does not generate stacks of overflow. Okay, so in his aspect, he's not going to get this extra healing, but in his regular form, he's going to get some more healing. Okay, so they're just buffing healing, which I don't know how I feel about that. Aphrodite's okay. I think she's fine. Her healing wasn't the greatest. Chalk's healing I thought was fine, to be honest. But anyways, ESET nerf, Dispel Magic, decrease slow from 20 to 30%, just to 20 overall, which I do like. I kind of wish they nerfed a little bit more about, you know, just her kit. I think her cooldown should be able to go up by like 1 to 2 seconds. Her healing should be decreased in her 1. There's a little bit of that. I don't know. I think she's very good. I think she's going to be very good. However, slows are very good. Slows are super, super good. One of the best CCs in my opinion, especially for Joust. So that's actually, I like this nerf though. So I'll take it. I'll take it. Hecate Fix, aspect of Ruin. Okay. Spell Eater 2. This ability no longer fires when enemy gods use toggle/stance switch abilities. Oh god, I didn't even realize that was a thing. Imagine you're Uller and you're spamming your ult and you're just getting hit by it. God, that'd be annoying. Okay, so that's good, I guess. Hua Mulan nerf, Divine Mastery, increased protections while firing. Went down from 40 to 30. Okay, so 10%, not bad. Still think she's really good. I think she's in a fine spot, honestly. Mercury nerf, fastest god alive passive, decreased bonus basic attack damage for every 1 centimeter traveled. I thought it was meters, maybe it was centimeters. 0.05% to 0.04%, max 25% to 20%. Okay, so he's gonna be doing less damage based on the amount traveled, so by about 5%. Sonic Boom decreased max. He is really good in Conquest right now. That's why they're nerfing him. For people who don't know, Sonic Boom decreased maximum bonus speed from 40% to 30%, fixing issue where the tooltip didn't state the spin duration or the bonus speed from casting the ultimate. Okay, so Mercury, I do think he needed a little bit of a nerf, at least for Conquest. He's still going to be very good though. He's still going to one shot. I haven't played him in a while when I played Conquest, but I stopped playing him because of the buggy mess that he was. So I'm hoping that they're fixing that as well. I assume they are, at least. New Wall buff. New Wall kind of needed a little bit of a buff. Just need a little bit of a buff to get there. To get to that solid spot. She's not a terrible god. She's just not, you know, the higher you go up in rank, she's just not that impactful. She can just get shut down. But, you know, lower ranks where you can kind of, you know, do whatever the hell you want, She's pretty good. Anyways, Clay Soldiers. Increased Clay Soldier dash, scaling 5% to 7.5%. So more damage. Increased strength of Earth penetration 4 to 12 to 6 to 18. So Clay Soldiers fucking smack, dude. Shining Metal. Increased base damage from 90 to 250 to 90 to 270. And increased damage scaling from 65 to 75. Okay, so that's going to be doing a lot of damage. 10% increase in intelligence and an extra flat 20 damage. It's going to be, that's going to be pretty nice. I think that might just get her there. That might just get her there. We'll see, though. Osiris nerf. Aspect of the fragmented. Decreased damage mitigation per stack from 2% to 1%. Ooh, okay, that's a pretty big nerf. So you no longer can get at max stacks 16%. Now you can get only 8%. But to be fair, his aspect, when you start out, you slowly get the his stacks. So like, you're just getting free damage mitigation. It shouldn't be as good. So I kind of agree with this. Thank God it's not just regular form Osiris who's getting this nerf. So in regular aspect, or regular form, you can still get 16%, but in aspect, you only can get 8% at max stacks, I believe. Sickle Strike, decreased protection from item scaling from 35% to 25%. And this is still in his aspect. His aspect was really good. There wasn't a lot of negatives to his aspect, in my opinion, outside of the regular ones. He still kind of built the same, just with a little bit more hybridy intelligence base, and that sort of was just better than his base form. So Sobek buff, I don't think this man needs a buff. My god, I always try to look at it from a Conquest and Joust perspective, because those are the two game modes I'm really into, and Conquest obviously has more precedence over Joust, but he does not need a buff in Joust standards. Neither in Conquest. I think about it, I think Sobek is in a fine spot. But anyways, Blessing of the Nile. Increased protections per stack 2 to 3. Increased protection per stack per level from 0.4 to 0.5. So it's an extra 2 protections at, you know, per stack. Or well, no, I'm thinking of something else. No, he just gets an extra 0.1 per stack. I actually don't know how many stacks Sobek gets. Let's see. All right, so in his passive, when Sobek deals damage, he gains a stack of protections. This effect stacks 3 times and lasts for 10 seconds. An ability can only provide 1 stack per cast. So yeah, okay, makes sense. So now he gets what? Before he would get, I can't do math. 6. He would get 6 extra protections, right? Stacks 3 times. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, I'm stupid. And then gets a 0.4 per level. That's the extra additional. I'm thinking like 6 protections isn't a lot, but 0.4 per level. So now it's 0.5. So yeah, it is an extra 2. 2 extra protections in total when he gets to level 20. That is, where am I going here? Here we go. Because yes, and one goes from 0.4 to 0.5. 0.1 times 20 is 2, right? Don't grill me if I'm wrong. I always seem to be right when I think about math, but I always have no confidence in it, because I could be wrong, I guess. But I think that is 2. Anyways, he's gonna be tankier, yay! Can't wait. Scylla Shift. General fix some tooltips facing issues. Aspect of the Devourer. Sentinel. New. Increased damage scaling from, what the fuck? Of course, I don't understand. I understand it, but I don't. It's like, no, of course. It had 0 damage. Whatever this new thing is, it was always 0. Okay, but why don't you just say has this now? I don't know. That's not important. I'm going a little too much into it. Anyways, increased damage scaling from 0% to 5% max mana. Interesting. Remove no longer reduces its own cooldown. I'm a monster. Decreased bonus damage scaling 22% to 30% to 25% of max mana. I will say Scylla in her aspect is really fucking good. So but now let's go look at her real quick. So Scylla, there she is. So Sentinel, where is it? Here it is. So Sentinel, right? So she throws her 3 out, and then now Now it has increased damage scaling based on 5% max mana. So they're sort of just taking this and just adding it to her 3. No longer reduces its own cooldown. So it's sort of in a way similar, but her ult doesn't do as much damage, which is nice. And it's being transferred over to her 3, which is, you know, different, but still, you know, not the worst thing in the world. So I think she might be a little bit less damagey support now. Just trying to transfer it over to a different area, in my opinion. At least what it seems like, at least. And we got Thor buff, Tectonic Rift, his 2. Increased strength scaling from 20% to 30%. Aspect remains unchanged. Yeah, and his 2, strength scaling is really going to be important if you're playing non-aspect, because aspect is more tankier scaling-based aspect rather than the regular Thor, which is assassin. You want to build strength scaling. Berserker Barrage 3, increased spin strength scaling from 35 to 40. And similar to what I said before, so that's not bad. Tsukiyomi buff, aspect of Mangetsu, piercing moonlight, increased explosion base damage from 50 to 150 to 75 to 175. So a flat 25 at all levels, and then increased explosion intelligence scaling from 50 to 65. Oh my goodness. 15%. I mean, his aspect wasn't doing great, I believe. Just based on how I was playing up against Aspect Tsukiyomi, and I believe the numbers, I think they talked over in Titan Talk, if I vaguely remember something like that. Might be wrong though. And then finally, Xiblanca nerf. They are gutting this guy, which, to be fair, he was the most broken aspect, you know, of all time. At least one of the top broken aspects. So Poison Darts now has decreased strength scaling, so this is even in his regular form as well. Intelligence scaling by 5, tick strength by 2.5, and decreased tick intelligence scaling by 5. So just the damage overall on his 2, not only in his aspect and in his base forms going down too. Which I think he's fine. I think he's fine now. Okay, no more. I think he's fine. Maybe one more. Maybe one more. We'll see. Maybe one more. But I do think he's fine for the most part. He's still going to be very good, and I think I like that about him, at least in Just, that he is very good. Not OP. I just want him to be good. Very good. Chandra's Grace getting a nerf. Our intent is for the regen to be as impactful, but lower the amount of total cooldown reduction granted. Yeah, the cooldown reduction was a thing that I don't think a lot of people took account of initially. The mana and the maybe it's just me. Maybe I didn't take account of it. But the health and mana regen is what I normally looked at, or a lot of people looked at, and I was like, oh, that's really good. But the cooldown was kind of cracked, giving people just more cooldown just because every, what is it, 30 seconds or something like that. Chandra's Grace is still going to be a very good item in Joust. You know, you're always going to be near your team, so you're always going to get that mana regeneration and health regeneration, and the cooldown is going to be good too for your team. And on top of that, the base, we're like in a very weird, not really weird, but like there's a lot of health. There's a lot of health in this game right now, and a lot of self-healing. And I think the health that it gives you, it's like 350 or 300, something like that. And 20% cooldown is just, for what, 2,300 gold? Yeah, it's just, if you ever think about it, I'm like, oh, I don't know where to go here. Go Chandra's Grace. It's always good. But the buff duration's by 1 second, but we're getting 5 more health and mana, so. There you go. Daybreak Gavel getting a buff. This item, this and some other items I just don't ever see, but now it might. Oh my god. Decrease cost from 2,650 to 2,500, and increase strength by 5 and intelligence by 5. That's a lot. That is a big buff. Holy shit. That's a lot of fucking strength and a lot of fucking intelligence. Holy shit. Okay. They really want this item to be picked up. So this might be a new thing that certain gods pick up, like healing gods. Let's real quick, let's look at some of these items, because I feel like not a lot of items. This might not be up to date though, we'll see. Where's strength? So I think what has the highest strength here? Erendite. Oh well, besides Avatar's Parashu. Avenging Blade. Not that many. So Daybreak Gavel now getting 60 and 80. And then you get each unique god healed by a healing ability gain a stack. Upwards of 4. Yeah. Consume all stacks. 13 strength or intelligence based on highest. You're gonna get so much. Wow. You're gonna get a lot of. You're gonna get a lot. I might have to, you know, take a look at this item when the buff comes out. That's one to pay attention to, I think. Dagger of Frenzy. Increased on use attack damage per level from 3 to 4. Okay, and that's not bad. I think Dagger of Frenzy was sort of not really being picked up a lot. How much we got left? Ooh, instant binding. So that's not bad. Eye of Erebus. Increased health from 200 to 250, and increased watchful eye duration from 30 seconds to 40. I thought this item was going to be a lot better than it seemed to be. It's still a decent item, but I thought it was going to be pretty OP, to be honest. Leviathan's hide buff now also reduces attack damage power as well as strength. So I don't know, because it's 10% less strength on hide whenever you get hit. I believe it's probably going to be attack damage power by 10% as well, which makes this now another ADC. It was an ADC counter, then it went back to just a strength and scaling based counter, not attack speed counter, and then now it's going back to ADC counter ish. So that's actually nice to see that item picked up a little bit more. Screeching Gargoyle buff, increased cooldown rate from 10 to 15, which is nice. Shield Splitter, my boy. I haven't been using this item. It's still solid, not as good as it once was. Increased range from 8.8 to 11.2, which is nice. Throwing them bitches out from a mile away. Increased physical protection is from 20 to 25. I might have to look into building this item again. All right. So if you live under a rock in the Smite community, guy named Snatty, who is a former SPL player, really good player, top of the food chain, if you will. Obviously, he was in the SPL, so he's gonna be that good. Anyways, he goes over these videos, which are pretty informative and good overall. He talked about Necronomicon and Stone of Binding, and lo and behold, he's got some sway, I would say, because they buffed Necronomicon after he posted the video, and then now Stone of Binding is getting buffed after he posted a video about that. You know, not right away, I don't believe, but it seems to be somewhat in time from that video that that now there's a buff here. So here we go. Or well, shift. Still, Stone of Binding felt awkward compared. And I to be clear, I had the same kind of Stone of Binding when it came out, or when they reworked it. I was like, this item is really fucking awkward, because now it only works on certain gods, like really CC heavy gods like Kabrakan and Hercules, and even then you still, I don't think it's worth picking up when you have other better items. So I'm glad they're finally changing it, because I never bought Stone of Binding after the rework. Stone of Binding felt awkward compared to its Smite 1 counterpart. Being so cheap, but being combined with item protection threshold to be effective made it feel awkward to build. We're increasing the cost to be able to provide more stats, making it feel better in a complete build. Additionally, we're removing the item protection threshold, and instead focusing the gameplay towards gods that can consistently disrupt and crowd control their enemies. By making each stack more impactful, straightforward, and rewarding players who can apply multiple control effects over the length of a fight. Okay, so it's going up significantly. So we'll see if it's worth it. Increase physical protections by 10, magical protections by 5, decrease stack count from 4 to 3, increase protection reduction from 5 to 7, which is nice. Removed item protection threshold for 2 stacks. Okay, nice. Increase stack duration from 4 to 6 seconds. Stacks now fade off one at a time, which right out the gate sounds a lot better. Let's see. Let's go ahead, look at Stone of Binding here. Stone of Binding. Where are you at, brother? I'm blind. There you are. So here we go. Hard crowd control an enemy, apply -5 physical and magical protection for 4 seconds. If you have 120 plus item protections, apply 2 stacks of this debuff. Stacks up to 4 times. Is that right? Hold on, wait. Apply -5 physical protection in 4 seconds. You have 120, apply 2 stacks of this debuff. Stacks up to 4 times. Yeah, it's just weird. So now they're getting rid of the it's also kind of convoluted too. It's just not, I don't know. The threshold item protection thing is just so, you got to be careful with that, I feel like. Prophetic Cloak is the only one I really think. But this would make sense. This would make sense. This one just was so weird. So when you apply a hard crowd control, you -5 physical magic damage for 4 seconds. It's not long at all. I mean, or well, I guess it could be. It's not the longest. It's not the shortest. It's just there. If you have 120 plus spread, apply 2 stacks of this debuff. Stacks up to 4 times. Yeah. I don't know. Like, it wasn't the worst item in the world. There was other items I think are worse. But definitely needed a rework. So I'm glad that they're doing that. So now instead of decreased stack count from 4 to 3, now they're upping the protection reduction amount. It's basically, I think, the same thing, right? No, a little bit more. One more. See, if you had 4 stacks of 5 reduction in protections, now that's about 20. 4 times 5 is 20, and now it's reduced to 3, but you get more item protection reduction per stack, so it's going to be 21. So 1 extra, but basically the same, realistically. But now it doesn't. Now it's not as. You don't have to worry about all the extra, extra protections and shit that you have to. Yeah, remove the item protection threshold for 2 stacks. So now you can just get it, which makes it a lot more interesting to buy, I will say. And this also makes it more interesting because with the item protection thing, you wouldn't even be able to get those 2 stacks unless you at your full build. You have to build Stone of Binding later, which is annoying. Now you can kind of build it earlier. So on those CC heavy gods, you should be able to build it earlier. So I think that's really good, or better, at least. And this is the one that makes it really good. Stacks now fade off 1 at a time instead of all at once, which is cool. So if you Herc Pluck someone, you get a stack. Then you throw them in with your 1. You push them, you get another stack. And then when you ult them, you knock them up, you get all 3 stacks. So you should be reducing it by 21 if I'm reading that all correctly, right? So no more instruction shred. So threshold, and it lasts longer, and they only fade off 1 at a time. So the enemy who's got that Stone of Binding debuff on them is gonna really hate that. I will say it's actually gonna be pretty good. Let's see. Let's read it one more time here. 120. Yeah. So there you go. Now you can kind of build this on. Oops, that's the wrong thing to see. Now you can even build this on like hybrid based gods, since you don't have to worry about the threshold and get max stacks pretty easily. I mean, if you wanted to go like a Hunbats or something, you could like 2 aspect 2 ult, and you can get 2 of those stacks and be hybriding, take 14 flat pen basically. Not much flat pen in this game, so honestly, I like that. And then finally, we have the Executioner buff, decreased cost from 2650 to 2550. And a lot of people have been picking up the Executioner. I still think it's very good, and I usually build it, but that's gonna be cheaper now. All right, so that's basically it. We got Stone of Binding. This is probably one of the bigger ones here. Spent probably most of the time on this one. Some other notable ones. This one might be. I'm gonna take attention to Leviathan's High. That might be pretty good. Take a gander at Daybreak Gabble. That's interesting. That's Shiblanque nerf. That's a notable one. These are all small ones. New Wall's a lot better. A little bit better, at least. E-set nerf is pretty big, even though there's not a lot here. Slow. So those are really good. Shock's gonna be interesting with the healing. Aphrodite might be doing a little bit more damage there. And then Amatros is getting a big shift. Or at least text-wise. We'll see how good that actually is. Got some... Oh... Okay, now we go. I already went over this. Jungle practice, war timers, which is nice. A lot of quality of life improvements, which is nice. Some new skins for Achilles, Rama, and Wukong. Got Aspect Sylvanas, which is gonna be really good, and the regular Aspect, which is also, or a regular non-Aspect Sylvanas, which is also gonna be good with his +1s and base kit. So there you go. There you have it. Open Beta 22, Keeper of the Wild. Overall, I think it's a solid open beta. Update. Nothing too crazy. Just some small changes and like maybe 1 or 2 big things here. Slowly getting all the gods in, which is nice. Another one for November. So just almost got the year's almost over. It's crazy. But yeah, if you guys do like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you guys think of the open beta if you want to. Discord description down below if you want to join that. Twitch in the description down below if you also want to check me out there. I go live basically every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm getting back to it. Wait, no, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know if I said that. God, I'm going insane. I'm getting back to it because I did have to move, and so a lot of my schedule's been messed up. But usually I go live Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So check me out there if you want to. Membership's open for 99 cents a month and $2.99 a month if you so desire, but not necessary. But very much appreciated if you do. But yeah, I think that's everything that I have for you. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching.